I want to demonstrate how to create text that will then be knit into a garment. So I'm using GIMP to create this text, although what I'm about to make can also be charted using simple graph paper. All you need is a grid like this to chart your text on, and you can do that on graph paper. And then when you finish charting, you can manually manipulate your needles according to the chart that you have, or you can punch a card according to the chart, or you can, if you use an electronic knitting machine, send your design to your knitting machine once you've converted it to a format that the knitting machine can read. So to begin, I'm going to be numbering the number of rows. My design needs to be 2 inches tall, and my gauge is 13 rows to an inch. So I'm going to make this design over 26 rows. 2 times 13 inches for my 2 times 13 rows for my gauge is 26 rows. So I want to number my rows. I want to mark it out. I can't really number well, I could. Let me see. Let me undo my selection and go and click on my text tool and number. So that's, no, I can't use a numbering tool, it's too large. Okay, so I'm just going to use a pencil tool to mark the areas that I should work with. Okay, so I'm going to click there. That's my row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Alright, so this is 26 rows. I say 26 rows because each box is a stitch. So this is 1 stitch, 2 stitches, 3 stitches. So a line of stitches is a row that we will knit when we're knitting, and then the next line is a second row, and a third row, and a fourth row. So these, counting up or down, you're counting rows, and then counting across, you're counting a number of stitches. Okay, so I've marked the beginning of my design row 1 and the end row 26. If you're using GIMP, which is what I'm using, you don't need to count. You can actually come to the ruler here and see a number strip and see how many rows you're looking at, okay, by looking at this ruler at the side. Okay, so my letters HS need to be 2 inches wide, and my stitch gauge is 7 stitches in an inch. So to have 2 inches, I need to multiply 2 by 7. That's going to give me 14. So 14, starting from here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So this is where my design should end, and if I follow that column down, it should end over here. So these are the boundaries of my design. All right, and then the other thing to note is that I want the text to have spacing in between. That means the H and the S should not touch. So I'm going to leave one column of stitches between them free, and so my H is going to be on the left and my S is going to be on the right. So if I'm removing one stitch out of my 14 stitches, I'm going to be left with 13. So one of the letters will have 6 stitches. If I divide 13 by among the two letters, one letter is going to have 6 stitches and the other one is going to have 7 stitches. So since S is curvier, I'm going to allocate 7 stitches to the S and have the H be 6 stitches wide. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this spot marks the end of my H, and I have a column of stitches free in between, and then this spot marks the boundary for my S. Alright, and then for the H it's pretty easy. You just draw a straight line down for both legs of your H. Pardon me. Okay, and then you come to the center, which is at row 13 and 14. And you draw a line across. If you feel like the legs of your H are too thin, you can make it fatter and make it 2 stitches wide. Okay, so the H is ready. Now let's come to the S. So for the S, we go across and then come down. And then a few rows before the midpoint, we start to cross over to the opposite side and then come down and go across again. So you could also make this S a bit fatter than it is right now. And there you have it, HS. Okay, so you just need to play with it and experiment with your graph. Okay, so once you've got the shape that you want in the areas that you want your number of stitches and your number of rows to give you the right width and height that you need, then the next thing that you must do is you must flip the lettering. Now you want these letters to show like this on the right side of the fabric, but remember when you knit, it's the wrong side of the fabric that's facing you. That's the side on which your stitches are being manipulated. So these letters need to be flipped as you're working with them, so that when you finish and then you flip your fabric to the right side, it will then appear like this. So what you want to flip ideally is you want to flip everything, the H and the S. Okay, so I'm going to select all of my design and see if I can flip that and show you what I mean. Okay, so I've selected and I want to transform my design, so I want to flip it horizontally. So this is what I mean when I say flip. So this is what you actually work with. It's going to look like this. This is what you are going to work with if you are choosing your needles manually. And this is what you're going to convert to a format that your knitting machine can read. Oh, sorry. You don't need to convert it. You don't need to flip it if you are sending it to your knitting machine. Your knitting machine flips it for you automatically. Okay, but if you are manually selecting needles, you must flip and then work with it like this. It makes your work so much easier. If you are punching a card, you do not need to flip. You can punch it as it is, but when you put your card into your knitting machine, remember to flip your card so that it looks like this when you're inserting your card into your machine, so that when you knit with it, the design will appear like this on the right side of your fabric. All right, okay, so that's how to chart text that you will then knit with. So let me explain. Once you get to the point where you need to knit this text, row 1 now, you would need to bring forward 2 needles at the position where you want the text to be on your sweater, 2 needles for the secondary color, and leave 2 needles back for the main color, and then bring forward the next 2 needles for the secondary color, and so on along this row, and then continue like that in the pattern. Okay, but this explanation is best described in a video, which I will probably do separately. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and if you enjoyed the video, let me know.